Me. I think parents should know what their kids are doing. I think parents should raise their kids better, or someone like Marilyn Manson's going to.
Sure. You know, I have to just observe, Mr. Mitchell, as you sit next to Marilyn Manson, nowhere is the generation gap more visible than it is right here. This is not to pass judgment in any way, but it is rather to say, you know, our grandparents had Helen Kane, you know, oop, oopy doop, and everybody thought the world was going to hell because she was... Never has it been quite this pronounced. I mean, really, this is... Nor has a culture, especially a culture of young people, appeared to be so transfixed with death and darkness and evil and... Do I speak the truth, Marilyn?
Everyone's so afraid of death, I think, that they want to get closer to it by fascinating over things like serial killers and horror movies and car crashes. And that fear of that danger at these concerts and these mosh pits, I think people get a sexual thrill from it. I think that excites people.
So there's erotica then is a part of moshing?
Well, maybe it's not erotic, but there's a term called eustress, and it's people's euphoric feeling over their stress. Yes. I think people thrive off of that. It's like amusement park, right at your own risk. You know that the concerts, there's a hint of danger, and people like that hint of danger.
Living dangerously.
This audience wants to talk about that with you, and also we'll revisit moshing on the floor with all those bodies bumping into each other. Yes, it was once called slam dancing. Now we have the more euphemistic title, moshing. We'll be back in a moment. Coming to you. We have not yet met Paul Wertheimer. Mr. Wertheimer is a security consultant. We got to have a consultant now for security. You actually bring your own expertise, for example, to concerts and making sure kids don't get killed at the door. Did you? And your work is provoked by all the deaths at concerts, isn't that so?
I study rock concert safety from the viewpoint of the fans.
Have you ever been on site when a violent eruption took place?
Well, I've spent 2.5 years moshing, and I was at the Who concert in '79 after the deaths of 11 fans.
This is Cincinnati?
Yes, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm going to ask you what you think is going to happen. Let's take one more look. Here is stage diving. This is moshing. We've already met the Mitchells, whose son was thrown off a stage by a security person. And now, watch this. How safe is that? And incidentally, what happens to the net? Watch this dude here. Now watch, he gets punched. He gets punched at the end of this. Watch this. Bam! Right there. Is this going to last, Mr. Wertheimer?
Well, I think it's going to continue for a while, certainly. And I don't think the problem is the moshing itself in general. It certainly isn't the fan. It's the people who create the environment and don't look out for the safety of the people who do mosh. There's the problem.
Really? See, I don't know how in the world you can possibly monitor the behavior of 100 people bumping into each other. Especially, do you know what I mean? I mean, I think the event itself is, I guess I'm sounding older than time.
Well, how about 1,000 people at a club like Roseland? I was there one night waiting for my daughter to come out, and there had to be hundreds, not 100, but hundreds and hundreds of people coming out. And I want to say also this, one other thing about bodyguards. While I was waiting there, some kid was trying to get in, and he didn't have a ticket, and a bodyguard came out, or a bouncer, I'm sorry, and he was very, very aggressive with this kid, overly aggressive, and almost hurt him right in front of me.
Yeah. You wanted to say?
Well, let me tell you what they can do if you want me to.
Please.
First of all, they can pad the floor. They can retrain the security, they can pad the bars, and they can have first aid and water available for fans who mosh. There's a lot that can be done.
Mm-hmm. But I have some problems with a guy who is a security guard under the circumstances in the first place. I'm wondering if we don't have a guy who eats nails for breakfast and looks for an opportunity to show he's got hair on his chest. Hey. And more than that, he's usually older, and he sees these kind of, you know, they're subhuman teenagers who are bouncing around, and there's a disdain. There's an attitude that creeps in, and pretty soon this guy is roughing up your youngest daughter.
Absolutely.
This is what terrifies me.
No question about it. I've been attacked by security myself, and it's one of the things that fans suffer the most is how they're treated by security who don't relate to the music and don't relate to them.
You're a security guard?
Yes, I am.
You are. Will you understand for us? Well, we're talking about you.
Yeah, I work over the Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah.
And I'm a guard.
Yeah. And how old are you?
I'm 24 years old.
24.
I can, like, relate to them.
Yeah.
That's why.
But don't you grab some people and
I sure do. They, you know, if they're getting out of line, you know, if
how do you know who's out of line in there? I mean, can you go in and spot me and pull me out of there?
Sure can.
You can tell if I'm elbowing?
You're 350 pounds and you're elbowing a girl like 16 or 17 years old like that. There's a problem there.
I would say so.
Yeah.
But the question is, should we have volunteers be the enforcement for the problem? I mean, what's the professional expertise here? And how do we know you're not armed or something's going to happen?
Well, they should have certified guards. That's first of all, that's what they should have. In the Nassau Coliseum, they have, like he was saying, padded area for the body surface.
Right.
And there's a big gap, and there's no stage dive in there.
Can you and I can agree that we can get some real Yahoo in the...
Of course you can, yeah. No,
in the guard situation. In the guard contingent.
Well, not at the Coliseum, you can't.
Guys looking to bust some head.
When I broke my leg at the Coliseum, you know what the security guard told me? I was limping out of the Coliseum, hopping on one leg with a broken leg. He told me, oh, medical's upstairs. That's what he told me. Yeah. So don't tell me there's no Yahoo.
Well, you're not going to get tender loving care at a place like this. We'll revisit the moshing, and this audience gets in when we come back in just a moment.